Hello, let's play Wordle for Thursday, July 16th. Yesterday we spun the wheel. It said to start with wheat. All right, an E and a T. We could be an ER word, but if we are, we have a T already. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's just go for good letters. We want P, R, N, L. We have to use the E and the T somewhere. So why don't we try like E at the end. I don't think there's a word like this. Well, we could do plate. No, there's no A. Plute. I mean, there's flute. There's brute. I want to use the P. There's always... Oh, I was going to say there's always pert, but again, no A. P... Okay, maybe I don't use the P. I don't want to... I just want to end in... You know, I could do a TR word then and end in E. Oh, trope. Of course. Let's do trope. All right, no P today. They didn't make it Pshaw again. Let's see. So TE, I think, is the most viable thing here. Maybe an ITE. The other option is UTE. It's not brute anymore. Is there an L something TE, either U or I? Well, I said flute earlier. Why don't I just guess that now? Not flute. All right, there's a U, but it's not third. Quite? Oh. I thought for sure that was just it. I didn't even think more. Okay. What goes between the U and the T? Because we're out of vowels. I guess it could be... Oh, no, it can't even be another E because the E in wheat is yellow. We don't get more vowels. So I guess it's like an NTE or an STE. What does that? Is this another weird word? Is it weird word week? I know that junta/junta is a word, but that ends in A, not E. I don't think this would be a word. Junt. Is this how you spell bunt cakes? No, that has a D in it. It's like BUNDT. Does it even have an E at the end? I don't know. But either way, that's not that. What am I not thinking of? TTE. Like butte? Like butte. Okay. The repeated T, that's what got me. Okay. Not as bad as yesterday, but still a bit of a struggle. Just a weird formation there. But I think my solve was a butte. Can't argue with that. All right, well, let's spin the members wheel and see what tomorrow's starting word would be. If you want to add a starting word to the wheel, you can sign up as a YouTube member or a Patreon member. All right, we're starting with vozed. I don't know how that's actually pronounced, but I say vozed. Can you pronounce the H? Vozed? Suggested by Cordell Ring, tier 2 member on YouTube. All right. So tomorrow we'll be starting with vozed. And let's check with the bot to see how we did today. So the answer is butte. And we started with wheat. Butte is like those like flat-topped mountains, right? Like in Utah. Let me check. Isolated hill with steep vertical sides and small flat top. Yeah, and these look a lot like Utah pictures. Monument Valley in Utah. Yeah. Okay. I was right. Saw a bunch of them when I drove through Utah to get to Colorado from California. It's just titled. That gets the double T right away. Yeah, I forgot that when there's a yellow T, testing double T is a good idea. Is trope here? No, Peter, though. Double E. So once double E or double T. I should remember that. I mean, it's something that I used to comment on a lot. Let's find out what wheat loses on, by the way. Ooh. Very bad if you get this SHA blank E trap. Or just, yeah, I mean, it's if the A is here and the E ends up there, wheat is not going to be able to get through them all. In hard mode, at least. All right. Anyway, let's do the real one. I went with trope, which is a 2.907. It's saying sweet or quite. I did flute, which is on the list at least. After flute, there were 4 words: butte, quite, sweet, and unite. So quite or sweet was the way to go. And it was down to only butte or, oh, justa. I tried, I didn't try, but I typed out junta, but not justa. All right, but it was butte. All right. Let's see what it would do. It wants to get that double T, which is going to be extremely helpful in this one because it's just guaranteed butte now. Now that solve is a butte. It even looks like butte. Oh my gosh. That would have been like the perfect solve right there. There's just 3 buttes. Sorry, I'm really I'm really tickled by that. All right, let's move on to least is what it starts with now. It's going to go that double T again, tighter, and then this doesn't look like buttes though, so it's not as good. Let's see how steel does. Steel has that yellow TE. I'm going to go tighter again. But this time, actually, there's butte, jetty, and petty because we didn't place the E at the end, which we did with the last one, I guess. Anyway, it says you must go jetty or petty. Otherwise, you're going to increase your average to 2 instead of 1.667. So picture's not very good either. If this were yellow, you could be like, okay, it's a butte with the sun setting behind it, and that's beautiful. But with that blanked out, I don't know if you can justify that. So, but this is pretty, though. All right, anyway. The picture's more important than the rest of the analysis. Adieu is the most common starting word. We have the E and the U. We go surge. U and E are placed, and we're down to 5 words: butte, ounce, Q, quote, and toll. And it says quote gets them all. That's interesting. Yeah, well, of course, quote gets Q with the Q there. It gets butte because the T ends up green instead of yellow. And then ounce doesn't have the T at all. So that's why it works. Yeah, anyway, then butte. Okay, that's a setting sun behind, or off in the sky with some buttes here. I mean, it's not that hard to make buttes in Wordle because it's just green, 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 right? All the way down. That's what happens. All right, audio. I'm still tickled by it. Gulps, burnt, and then butch, butte, some order. So it's going to be a 4 or 5. Gulps is a interesting filler, though. If we did bugle instead, it just goes right to butte. So, all right. Stare, another very common starting word. We do thine. Then we could get butte right away. Otherwise, we're going to do something like flute, quote, butte. Like if we get really unlucky, could be a 5. So 3, 4, or 5. And then, what am I doing next? Oh, yeah, perk tries to get in 2. It's a 1 in 56 chance today to get butte in 2. If you go alphabetically first, today's the day this bucket wins. But no, butte is not ideal here. So we could get butte in 3. Otherwise, we're guaranteed a 4. All right. And finally, tarps. We're going to go fillet. That's interesting. And then straight to butte or quote, then butte. So 3 or 4. All right, let's check with the official bot, see how people are doing on butte. Is butte a repeat? For some reason, I feel like we've had butte before, but maybe it's just another game. It was the answer. I play a lot of games that use the same Wordle list, which is helpful. It gets you familiar with what's possible. It's also fun. That's why I do it. It's not to study. All right. 89 skill. Didn't really like my guesses that much, I guess. Wheat was 75. People did stone, store, stole. I'm not the only one who did trope. Tense, tepid, spite, strep, brute, and tort. So who did best? Stole did well. Ooh, brute, of course, did very well. Didn't I mention brute as an option? If I gone with that. I wanted to get the P, though. I'm kind of obsessed with using P in my follow-up if it's not in the start. Because the bot tends to do that. But I forgot that it prefers actually trying double T or double E when those are yellow. All right. Yeah, I mean, none of these are doing particularly well except for brute. Although the best of the bunch is stole at 2.1. This is just tort here. Again, that double T. Flute it didn't like very much either. It wanted to do sweet or quite. Sweet is a little better. Here I did quite, which I gave a 99 for. And then Butte was the only one left. All right, Tarp's Lithe Butte. That looks like a 0.3. Yeah, 0.3 starting with Butte. 1.4. It's pretty low for a turn 2. Now it jumps up to 19.6, 64.9, 93.2, 98.9. People losing on buff, bubba, quote, quite. Yeah, but it's mostly buff and bubba. So they're in this BU something something E, and they don't know what Butte is, and they didn't have the T in their start. All right, let's refresh and check the regular mode. All right. So 481 other readers. Stone, store, spite, tenor, trope, stall, terms, tepid, tripe. No one did brute on this one, and no one did particularly well. The best of the bunch is stall. I think that's the same as last time, right? Don't remember. Flute gave a 73 to, although it is very popular in this situation. Then quite, then Butte. Slate Turbo Butte. So it does a filler and gets the B, which is very nice for it. 0.4 started with Butte. 1.4, 15.7, 54.5, 85.8 is low. 96.8. Losing on Buffy, Queet, Bubba, quote, and quite. All right. Well, how'd you do?